one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind your guidance, your will, the best interests of our county residents, Lord. Help us to be just the best that we can be as we go about our business today. I ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Okay, start out with the minutes.
Stan, did you see anything?
No, motion to approve.
Second.
Motion passes. What else have you got for us, Tony?
I've got Allied weekly health insurance claims in the amount of $62,088.20. I verified the claimants. We had in medical, $15,540.88. Prescriptions, $49,991.87. We had a couple of adjustments, which made the total $62,088.20. Weekly health insurance claim.
Hey, have any questions on those?
I don't have. so-
Shannon, are we seeing an improvement on pharmaceutical costs or medication costs since we did that new program?
We are on a little bit of the specialty. There is still some costs that is coming out. I noticed a couple things on the report that Jody sent last time, and she is coming in a couple weeks to go over that with you guys. I noticed some things, so her and I are powwowing on that, and then we're just digging into if there's any other options that we could apply, if there's a PBM that's better. I don't think that, we're not where I would like to be, let me put it that way. We're still spending quite a bit on pharmacy, so we're gonna have some suggestions for you guys for next year, for sure.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll second that. Did you make the?
Yeah, I'll make motion
Yeah,
62,088. Allied.
Okay, motion carries. Thanks, guys.
Okay. You should have received the accounts payable claims. And the accounts payable claims is in the amount of $212,566.34, $212,566.34.
Questions on those?
I did
Guys.
not.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carries.
Next we have, I gave this to you prior to the meeting, as to utilities paid in Lao. I also put the 2024 along with the 2025 costs so you can compare. The amount today is $37,070.17.
I appreciate you doing that, Tony. That was kind of nice to look last year as opposed to this year. I make a motion, we approve the utility claims.
I'll second Stan's motion.
Okay.
Okay, we have the May 2025 Allied monthly insurance cost. And that monthly cost is $72,215.05. $72,215.05.
I have no reason not to approve that.
Yeah.
Okay, is that
Second.
motion, Doug?
There's that.
Okay, motion carries.
Then we have the payroll AP claims, so all of the benefits and so forth. The payroll AP claims are in the amount of $346,334.74, $346,334.74.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion carries.
Okay. The final thing I have is the monthly animal shelter report submitted by Mike and Cindy Heiser. I would seek a motion to enter that into the record.
Yeah. Do I have it? Pretty good.
On here, when they say dogs transferred, I wonder if they should put dogs transferred into glory.
Some of the dogs end up going, as you remember, I think we discussed in that meeting we had over at Mark's office, that's some Fort Wayne takes up.
Oh, yeah.
if they think they're adoptable up there, they take them off our hands.
Their numbers look pretty darn good, really.
Yeah. Well, I think they're careful about not getting overcrowded. So,
Three dogs and 3 cats, that's pretty darn good for the
Yeah.
county.
Yeah,
I move that we approve the report, Stan.
yeah, and like, this is one of those reports that I'd approve entering it into record,
Okay.
you know, because we don't have to take any action on it.
Is
Yeah,
that your motion, Stan?
yep.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, that motion passes.
double check, I believe that's all I. Yep. That's all that I have, gentlemen.
Okay.
I'll come down and grab all those momentarily.
Nate, what have you got for us this morning?
Just a couple updates.
Morning, Nate.
Sit on this.
You don't want to sit facing the other way?
You've got my back.
That's right.
Yeah, hey, just a few items, Countywide Bridge Inspection Contract, I know I'd mentioned it before, USI is our selected firm. I just received their full draft contract with all their supporting documentation. That has to go to NDOT first, so that was kind of the holdup at this point, is to get NDOT to approve their rates, and what the proposed scope of work is. So once I have their approval, then I will bring that to you, hopefully with recommendation to proceed. And then we can get our contract with NDOT done. So that's been a little bit of a holdup, but again, this is the 2026 year. So really, we're talking about a contract that can't go into effect until May of 26. So,
Oh, May of 20.
yes, so that's the inspection cycle. So we could sign all this, but I won't be able to do a notice to proceed until even then. So we're still well ahead of the game, and NDOT just likes to have these on schedule, because if they fall behind, they fall behind 93 times across the state with every county. So that's just their status there on that one. Brush clearing, I actually had that
Quick question on the
Yep.
contract. Remind me of the small structures, when that contract is up and when that, what the cycle is on that.
That one I've got on a 4-year cycle as well. I believe what we end up doing is we do 2 townships every year. Since we got 12, it means it's a 6-year rotation. So we end up signing with that contract. So that's open with JSC. My intent is to try to, when we're doing this contract, then we'll end up cycling that one as well soon after. We're still on contract with them, I believe, through 25, and I believe end up going through again in 26, but I'll have to double check. the
Okay,
dates on
so
that.
that's nothing we have to
And
deal
that's,
with.
that one's a locally run, a local contract. There's no federal or state grant
Oh.
dollars for that. So there's no oversight from them. It's simply just whatever house contract we want to work with. So that
Okay.
one, I'm trying to do a similar process. That way it keeps us on a schedule. That way no small structure goes more than 6 years without being inspected. Every bridge gets inspected every 2. Our small structures at least get done every 6, and it rotates around the county. My intent then is when it's inspected that I could do construction in a 2 or 4 township area. That way my contractors are in the southwest and northeast at the same time. That's been my problem these first 2 years, is contractors are all over the county. If I can keep them close, then it's easier to bid. They know where Buying Stone is at, and their mobilization is similar. We'll see better prices.
Well,
that way.
and that's the advantage to the contractor. The only disadvantage is if you have to close multiple roads in one township.
You know, you're
At the
closing
same-
all, but with
Yeah.
it going to 1, maybe 2 contractors, they're usually not both happening at the same time. And as small structures, their closure time frame is much smaller. They're not closed for 90 days. They might be closed for a week or 2
Right.
typically. So you might have a rough ride when you're going over it till we can get some asphalt or pavement over it, but for the most part, that's the process at least.
What contractors are you currently using on your small structures?
We work with, KBL comes to mind, Ish Excavating is a owner operator. He's been doing some work and is very eager on projects. Fleming has 2 of our larger, structures this year. They hadn't bid in a while, but had been asking about picking up some of that work. Trying to think who else has been bidding on those.
Who was the,
Luganville is another.
who
one
was the
that's been
firm
on.
out of Ohio that was always priced wrong?
Judy Excavating has been
Judy,
the one
yeah.
that's done some of those. And they're large enough, they'll want to do some of the bigger, small structures. They're not going to want to do 48-inch diameter pipe, for example.
Right.
Those are perfect for Luganville and Ish because they're smaller overhead. They have big enough equipment to do the work, but they're not such a large operation, so. But if we're doing, four-sided boxes, or I've got to pour a foundation or a wall with it, then you're gonna want somebody like Fleming or, Judy to pick that sort of work up.
Yeah. Okay.
No, fair question.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that schedule for our contract with JSE, because if I need to open that up, I may try to get that renewed for the next 4-year cycle as well. So, yeah, no. Next item is just some brush cutting. I actually had an opportunity to do some tree clearing myself this last week with the nice weather. A couple of our bridges, 5, 42, and 60 here in the county had brush underneath them, some of the small scrub brush and plants, some of the thorny trees. And with the equipment budget, I went ahead and bought an 8-inch pruning saw, a little electric one, and just went at it. Well, if it's small enough that I can do it myself, I don't feel too bad. If it gets big, I'm gonna have to ask for some help, so I'll just have the highway guys or contractors.
It's not a fun job and it's a dangerous job.
Yeah, you gotta be cautious with it. I don't wanna be stupid. If I can't cut it with an 8-inch pruning saw, then I ought not to be
Yeah, there you
doing it
go.
myself. So it's kind of my,
Let the equipment be your
let the
guide.
equipment, and it's like, if this is too much for this, then I shouldn't do it.
All right.
So that kind of limiting myself in it, but I think it was, according to the asset management plan, there was budgeted $6,000 for tree clearing. So I'm like, I can do it. With me and a $400 saw, it's like, yeah, that's not too bad ROI. So where it's mine or prudent to do it, I'll do that. But don't expect me to go clear too much with something like that.
You're still in this job 20 years from now, I can guarantee you're not gonna be.
Yeah,
doing
I'm
it.
probably doing that I'll do it while I'm still young, and maybe doing it will help keep me young. I don't know. We'll find out. And then the last one here is just a note on the 5-year asset management plan. I say 5 years, it's really, I look farther than that, honestly. I'm working on our asset management plan, making some updates to that. Currently, I think I'd set invites out. I'd like to sit down with each of you individually to kind of go through that plan so that I get your input on what we have currently on records. One, I want to make sure that you know what's funded, what we've got in design, and then what kind of some of our long range needs are, and then the budgets that go along with it. My intent is to go through that with you long before we really put any sort of budget together. I put a budget together and present it to council. So you know what the impacts potentially are or are not, moving forward. Something that was actually of interest, yesterday I was able to sit in on a class through, Purdue LTAP. They were showing off a federal highway software that they have. It's a free software program that I can use to assess our inventory. So the bridge inspections that get done get uploaded to NDOT, and then those that go to Federal Highway, well, Federal Highway actually did something with it. And their program they've got running does modeling, projecting, prospective needs assessments based on the type of construction. So I actually was able to run that yesterday, and I'm kind of excited about what opportunities it has as a backup to what I see versus what the engineers, and now it gives me a third leg to stand on when it comes to developing this chair of that plan. What you and I may think is a good idea, this one at least is looking at the report and saying, here's based on the structure type and its current age and such, here's where it thinks based on the AI model it uses, where it thinks it is. Couple items I don't agree with.
Will that help us as we look for federal grant?
What it's gonna help me do is, for example, it helps me set this priority list right here. So when we're sitting here saying, here's a bunch of rehab projects scheduled all the way to 2035 in that 10-year plan, it's going to say, I would say of the 21 bridges in the rehabilitation list, it added 4 of the ones that I thought needed to be done as well. So it corroborated what I thought needed to be on this plan that was not. And it added 2 more that I questioned. So it's gonna help us prioritize projects better. And also gives me a good indication of where we need to be spending money when we are, so we're wisely spending it. You don't just take it, and run with it necessarily. It's something that needs some interpretation, but
It's a tool.
it's a tool, and it's a tool I didn't have yesterday at noon. It's one that we found out went through. That's why you do those sort of sessions. So
Yeah.
I think bringing some technology out there isn't all a bad thing, but it doesn't replace going out there and actually cutting a mulberry out from under a church
Yeah.
bridge now and then.
Yeah.
But it's part of what we gotta do in this century.
Mhm.
So,
Good.
any
Very
questions
good.
for me then?
Nope, thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
Absolutely, thank you.
And it get produced, that was a Zoom call or
It
internet?
was a Zoom meeting that they had, so.
The brush clearing, did I hear you say you used to do that many years ago when you were young?
No, well, it's been a year, been a day ago when I was old.
He's still young, Jim. Duh.
Morning, Brad.
Good morning.
All right, I just have a few things today. The one I'm gonna start with. Every year when we do our yearly bids, like for stone and oil and all that, we have Pavement Solutions give us a bid on crack sealing and also on micro surfacing. And so if you've been on Polk Street coming off of 27, in the last half year, you notice how bad it's getting a lot of wide cracks in it, holes in it, the thin holes that are hard for us to fill. So also Monroe's portion of that needs taken care of too. Anyhow, so I reached out to Pavement Solutions and they do a micro surface, which is a real thin oil asphalt coating, but it also fills those gaps, the cracks, does it all at once. So I had reached out to them off their yearly bid to get a price. So we're gonna have them come in. Let me back up. So we asked them to come in, give us a price, and then we'd like them to come in, and our portion of that is from 27 to 200 feet north of Strix Fence is our portion of that road. Monroe's has the rest of it. Anyhow, $24,190 is the price they gave us, but they used their bid price they used at the beginning of the year. So our plan is to have them come in and do that. And then we'll get stripes put on it because, you know, that's turn lanes and all that. We're gonna have it striped. Next year, Monroe is gonna have the same thing done, and then they're gonna ask us to chip seal their part, and then we'll do our part. And when we chip seal for them, we've done it before, they pay for all the material.
Okay.
So anyhow, we just don't wanna let our portion go another winter. We really don't, as bad as some of them cracks are.
Okay.
So that's why we're gonna have Pavement Solutions come in and do
Okay.
that.
But are they gonna do the whole road or just our
We're just doing
portion?
our portion.
Okay.
Monroe's not ready yet.
Okay.
So anyhow, we wanna get ours sealed before winter.
And that covers the entire road, not just the crack parts.
Yeah, it's a thin layer on the whole
It's a whole
road, but the
surface.
cracks and that, it fills it in. So,
Now, you have a piece of equipment that, I don't know what it's called, but it goes out and,
Well,
Kinda
it
does
does,
that
it
on
does
your-
hot mix, right?
yeah,
yeah, you still have that piece of
I mean,
equipment.
like, we called it the total patcher that fills potholes.
Right, right.
Yes, yeah, that's been running every day for the last 3
Yeah.
weeks.
And that does asphalt primarily?
It sprays oil with gravel, so yes.
Gravel, okay.
So it's a hot mix.
But
Like-
that's the one you can do like thinner layers though, right?
Yeah, we can do that, but the portion here, the amount that's there
Yeah,
is, it'd be there days and days and days, so.
So
They'll come
what's
in
the
and-
time frame for that? Pretty quick? Are they booked in for the summer?
Well, that I'm not sure because, you know, we're just getting this around and I'm gonna let him know as soon as I got done here today that put it on to see where we're at.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, the goal is we'll get it striped and then next year we're gonna chip seal the whole thing. And then I'll get us quite a few years of life out of that yet. Before Monroe's ready, cause we wanna work with them and do it all as much as we can at the same time. So,
So that, just out of curiosity, if you get it done now and you stripe it, and you chip and seal it, you're gonna cover up those
Yeah.
stripes.
yeah, we're gonna, and we've discussed that with the paint striping. We're gonna use the cheaper
Oh, okay.
paint.
Yeah.
It would last a few years, but yeah. Cause with the way
Eventually you
those
have to
lanes
cover
are, we have gotta do something with striping. So,
striping
yeah.
counts.
Have you looked into setting up a truck for striping?
Not yet.
So.
Yeah, that's, yeah,
I
we
I
have,
think that, cause I know it
Yeah.
came, and I saw it down at road school.
yeah,
One county was doing that and they were just real happy with doing
Yeah.
it.
and I'm not, we were kind of looking into the option, but a lot of them have a lot more employees also. Cause that's what happens on a lot of that, when it's fit for us to be out chip sealing, potholing and doing that kind of stuff, that's when you wanna be out paint striping.
Oh.
So, but not that it's not a possibility. But I'm just saying right now, we just, yeah. Yeah, we haven't looked into it.
Yeah, if you, I guess I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause like all the stripes on Winchester, they're gone. You can't see anything there.
Yep, and hopefully.
And that was just a couple years ago that they did
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I haven't, they should be getting in here before long to do that, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, will that be a one-day job for Pavement Solutions, just a one?
Oh, yeah,
One day?
yeah, one day.
That's a Fort Wayne company, right?
They're out of Kokomo.
I didn't know that.
Do they wait till after school's out or they do it before?
Yeah, it'll have to be timed. Well, that's what, 2 weeks yet, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it'll be after school though. Yeah. So the only other thing that I have is buggy plates and dust control, just a reminder, May 15th is the final day.
Okay.
And then, dust control's $2.96 a foot. And then we are starting our 4 10-hour days, May 12th, which is the last week of buggy plates. So it all works out well.
Okay, sounds like you got full
Okay.
schedule coming up.
Yeah, next week it's gonna break loose.
Yep.
Yeah, it's,
How many buggy plates have you sold?
but I just heard Becky say we've sold about half of what we normally do. So you're at about 1,300. But other than that,
Good. Thanks, Brad.
thanks.
Very good.
Rick, what have you got for us this morning?
Morning, Rick. Hi, guys. Yesterday afternoon, I got a call from a Mr. Schenkel to do the structure test.
Okay.
For inspection at the courthouse. That'll be done, next Tuesday at 8 AM.
It's good.
Wonder how long that takes.
I don't know, I'm hoping I can get back here before the meeting's over, but.
Okay.
Also wanna, this coming Friday, fire extinguisher, inspection will be done at both courthouses. That'll be done Friday morning. I received a call from Mark Wynn yesterday. I believe they had the final inspection or whatever at the
The
council on
Merit
Aging.
Center, yeah.
Garage, yeah.
I guess they need 2 fire extinguishers. So he called me and, I said, I'll take care of it. I kind of tried to throw this in here and I think I'll get it completed. I don't have the quote yet for it, but it's 2 fire extinguishers for that building. Entry doors.
Right.
And I just took it upon myself to go ahead and do it. I don't know. So
Great.
hopefully that'll be done Friday.
I think that's the last thing for that building.
It is, that's what Mark said.
Handicap, I saw there was a list of kind of odds and ends things, but some handicap rails and a restroom and fire extinguishers,
That was one of them.
some kind of a sign. That's all I remember.
And going forward with that, I don't know what you guys think. It's probably easier if I just keep that on a rotation, what I have there.
Yeah.
Um,
Even though they're in it, it actually is a county building, county-owned building, so you're fine with that.
just so you know that that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've called, I think, every week about this. I just talked to Judd Myers yesterday morning. We still haven't got that compressor in for that heat pump.
Yeah.
2 hours later, they called me. It should be here by the end of the week.
Okay.
So they got confirmation on that, so. I think we're looking at rain. One thing he did tell me, you can't open that system up when it's raining. Cause you can't get any water in that, so it's supposed to be fairly, I don't know, maybe I'll do it Saturday. I don't know what he has planned, but we'll definitely, as soon as we get it, we're gonna get it in, so. I know they kind of been hot. over
Was that the
there.
one at the courthouse? Remind me on.
Yeah, it's at the
Yeah.
courthouse.
Yeah.
It's like the clerk's office. and downstairs.
Yeah, it was cold, now it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully by the end of the week, first of next, get that taken care I heard this morning when we had the, department head meeting about shredding. I don't know if you guys see me, I was talking to the gals back here about this inspection that's gonna happen, and then, the shredding. Now Shelley tells me that she's got money to pay for that, but if anybody else piggybacks on that, I don't know how we wanna do that. I mean, I think she's thinking once a month that she wants this done,
Just have a truck show up and
yeah,
is that
How often did you have it show up?
once a year.
kind of on demand? You just called him, right? Did you just call them when you were ready for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did, and it was just common courtesy to get the clutter out of the buildings, is
Yeah.
why I did it. But, you know, in some cases, kind of taking that over, which is great.
Yeah.
I just don't know, and I think she asked for feedback from the other departments, so. It's all gonna be about who's gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Where's it at right now? She, out of her budget, right?
For her office,
For her office.
but let's just say.
Can't be that much more to fill
Any
the
other
rest in,
office
can it?
wants it, I don't know
That
if they,
would-
I don't know if they're budgeted for it.
Most of them in this.
If you want
building
me
meet
to,
once a year.
yeah, I mean, if you want me to do it, I'll budget for it. If you want it out of mine, but
I mean,
Just throwing it out there.
is her deal cheaper than? Or,
That's what she says.
cause I know when you have the truck come in, man, you got paper stacked up all in here.
But you know, that's kind of when we've been on top of that, that's kind of diminished. We haven't had near the volume of that. I think the last shredding we've done over here, we had a little bit was, Golden Meadows, Stings, and just a few offices participated.
A lot of ours is more paperless or has been over the past few years. I was at that, I'm on the Public Records Commission too, and I was at that same meeting that Shelley's talking about. Jack Odell was the one that had contracted for a once a month pickup with some company. He gave that information to Shelley, so then she utilized him. And I think she sent out an email, was it all the commissioners? Or just?
I know she sent it
Yeah.
to me anyway.
Yeah.
So that was the whole question from the guy that she hired to do this. And he even sent out like a form type thing or something as to, in his experience, here's how often some of these things have shredding to do. I think that's probably a commissioner's decision whether or not to have Rick funded in his budget and pay for all shredding. Or just if he wanted to keep doing his annual thing here, and then she pays for hers out of, that's really, I think, up to the commissioner.
I mean, if she's gonna do that, let's say, you know, over the course of a year, it doubles the cost of our shredding, that's gonna be kinda.
I think that one of the differences that we need to think about is whether we're shredding documents that have been archived and have reached their date at which they can be destroyed, or they're shredding daily produced documents that just need to be shredded. And there's a difference there. If you're just shredding archived documents, once they reach their date where they can be destroyed, you can do that once a year. But if you're shredding documents that are generated regularly and that they're being retained for a year and then shredded, or they're being retained for a month and then shredded, you know, it's just two different kinds of documents that need to be destroyed.
I think that, I can't speak for them, but I think that's what's going on over there.
I think that's my wonder is that's what, you know, in the banking business, I produce documents that need to be shredded every day.
Yeah.
And if I saved all those up for a year to destroy them, that wouldn't be a good
And
idea.
I think that's what they're just trying to stay on top of it.
Yeah, I know. We have the shred truck that pulls up
Right.
at least once a month, if not every 2 weeks at the bank, and they just shred everything we've got, and then they come back 2 weeks later and they have another couple of big bins full of shred, and they shred those and they just keep coming. But that's all documents that are generated just through the course of doing business, and they need to be destroyed.
So do we have to do one or the other?
I don't
you
think
can
so.
do, I think you can do both.
Our office has a shredder in the office that we shred our daily
Yeah.
things like that, and so do other departments.
Yeah, see,
I
we've
think
got rid of all of
Yeah.
our shredders
I
because they're
think, I
such
think clerk's office
heavy
and
maintenance.
apparently probation, same way.
Yeah.
They have more of those types of documents.
Yeah.
And it probably went down, and I think they've done a good job of.
Yeah, well, I think the yearly thing's pretty important. just
Well,
because of
maybe
what
we could
Steve
leave
mentioned.
it, you know, to tell the departments, if we are gonna have a shredder here once a year, if you can hold your water till then. And if you need to have shredding more often, then it comes out of your department budget.
I think in this building, once a year is works pretty well.
I mean,
Yeah, and it usually follows that public records meeting. we
That's
have once a
exactly
year.
what it follows, yeah.
Yeah,
the things
because
are
there are
archived and
timelines
they're-
on a lot of things.
We have to wait like 10 years or whatever it is
Right.
for claims to.
Right.
And even, in that public records, even the city attends that with some of their stuff.
Yeah,
So that would be my thought anyway.
I don't think we need to
that makes
change
sense.
much, really.
I think go ahead and let Shelley do that, the day, or the weekly, or the monthly pickup of her documents, and everybody else count on using that annual,
Right,
destruction
right.
day.
But if they're gonna do it more often, it's gotta come out of their own budget.
our department will be doing it more often.
Okay,
I asked her specifically, she said she had the money, so
okay, good.
that was my point. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
gonna come back and say, they want me to pay for that. I'm not budgeted for that.
Right. Right, that's the right answer.
Let's see. Well, it's springtime here, and I don't know, and I'm just letting you know this just because there's been some ants up in the extension office. We have our building sprayed once a month, but I had called Chet's Pest Control, that's who we're contracted with,
Mhm.
to go in there and just spray it, so. But I will say this respectfully, I mean, it's kind of a magnet in there.
Well,
Bread and pasty.
And, you know, they got a break room where they should go eat. And if people are eating in their offices, their chances are very good there's gonna be ants.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
it got sprayed yesterday and will be taken care of.
Yeah.
Just if someone says something.
Good deal.
Stan, I think you and I got this email. I thought I kind of waited for your need to be honest, to the clerk's office about that file room down there,
Oh,
so. I did get hit up about that again. I said, well, I think you got your answer for right now.
yeah, and I can talk to her too about, you know, making more room here on the first floor for file storage.
Kind of worried about getting that. So the clerk's office was down where the public defender.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Did we ever finish the,
Is there a plan there, Stan, as far as how that's gonna work out then, or?
It's a little bit of juggling because we've got some offices that within the next year or maybe sooner, maybe within the next 6 months may be emptied as far as the health department and economic
I know
development.
economic development will be out, probably would assume within the next
So
60 days. Economic
at
development should
that
be out
point,
there.
we can make some decisions on moving offices away from that end of the hall because Mike would like to isolate that as an IT hall and keep the public from having to go down there at all. So my thought or my intent would be to, once we have a couple open offices, to move some people away from that end of the hall and use that for file storage.
is the F&M Bank in Bern still storing some of our stuff in the
They
basement?
are, yeah.
They got a whole basement.
Yeah,
full of
so
it.
that,
Trying to move that
that
out
would
of there.
be
And
the,
it's real, number one, we're paying rent for it, but
Yeah.
the other thing is, it's real difficult to go down there because whenever they go down there to pull a record, number one, they gotta drive to Bern, but the other thing is, they have to have a bank employee physically go down the basement with them. So,
Anyway, there's been discussion to address this. It isn't happening as quick as everybody wants it, but I think there's a plan.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so
Good.
that's my thought process on that anyway, and you know what, sometimes things don't happen as quick as I want either, so.
I think that,
But yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
yeah, that's really where that was.
Yeah.
So, so I have to.
Okay.
I'll be back here Tuesday if I get done with that. Hopefully record something. If not, I'll be over there.
Do we have parking lots that need attention here? Is there a plan for that?
What I've asked, Jeremy Gilbert, college help me get dismissed here.
Yeah.
As far as, painting, I want to get that parking lot restriped and
Okay.
this.
Okay.
I did inquire about it last year. He was gonna see if they would have time to do it. If not, I'm just gonna have to get a quotes and get it done.
Does that parking lot need to be resurfaced? Do any of our parking lots need to be resurfaced yet, or can they go another year?
Hurt, but I was just kind of where my budget is right now, because you're seeing things. I'm just gonna get it painted.
Okay.
But to answer your question, they could use it.
How are we doing with parking out here? Cause the treasurer asked for us to keep spots open for his, clients.
Okay. Couple weeks back, actually, I've had discussion with Shannon with this. Actually, what I did is, one morning, I don't remember the particular morning, but I, took pictures of about 8:05 of how our parking lot looked. Virtually not very much business at that time yet. Our employees seem to like to park this section right here.
Mhm.
And those pictures did indicate that. And down there, we had some vacancies. So just a little bit of discussion that I had with Shannon about this. Maybe we need to put some signage up through.
Designate some of that as visitor parking only or something.
Yes, because
Yeah.
what happens is we're all parked here, we're all in. And even if someone needs to use that, they gotta walk all the way down there, walk clear the length of the building and come inside.
Yeah.
But if we could
Well,
have-
we've got the other door unlocked though, right?
It is unlocked, but
But the elevator's not down there.
yeah, it's the steps. So I guess going forward, have a little discussion if we can, if you guys approve this. I don't know how many you want, but starting here, when we go in this entrance, if we put some signage up, however we wanna word it, public only, or I don't know. Whatever you
Well-
wanted to say, 3 or 4 spots and have
Maybe,
signs made.
maybe have that discussion with Ed and see how many spots we need to, cause we could put visitor parking only for half a dozen or 8 or 10 spots, whatever,
Yeah, I don't know.
for the next month.
I don't know what the number is, but
I'd say 3 or 4 would be ample. I mean, once the taxes are paid, that's gonna cut down half the traffic.
we'd always
But
have.
there's always people going for drainage,
Yeah.
other business,
Yeah.
auditor,
Yeah,
I think 3 or 4 would be warranted for
And
sure.
we could essentially leave it that way. I mean.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah,
if
I
it's
would.
done, it's
I'd put
done.
it
Yeah,
up.
it should be
Yeah.
permanent.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
enough people in and out of this building daily.
Yeah,
Even if we
Well, we
left
owe
half a
that.
dozen
Yeah.
spots.
we owe that.
so with,
I do feel that the alert has gone out and made a little bit of a difference. I always park in the
yeah,
Third Street parking lot over here, and there are more cars there today than there typically have been when I pulled in there this morning. So I feel like a few more cars are parking out there.
I'll tell you who they are, cause I see them every day on the way
Yeah, I
out.
bet you do.
do you think that we should go ahead and do that?
I
I
do,
would.
I do. I think, I pick a number, say 4. That,
Visitors only would be probably ample.
yeah,
wouldn't it?
something, I think just
Yeah.
visitors, yeah.
Mark, does that have to be an official action, if we just do that?
What's that?
If they want Rick to put up like 4 visitor parking only signs, they need to take official action on that, or can they just direct them to do it without official action?
No, I think they can direct it.
Okay,
Or
I just wanna make
Just out
sure
of
it's official.
curiosity, do we even have a handicap? We do have handicap.
we have some
park,
handicap
yeah, right here.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's good.
If that's something you're gonna do, just have a motion to that effect, and that way you got it in your minutes.
Well, I move that we designate 4 spots north of the building for visitors only.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion passes.
Hopefully, Brad's gracious enough to put those posts in for us as before.
Yes, we will do that.
Yeah. Bruce is good at that, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Now, they've helped us before with the courthouse put signs. So, I think that's all that I have, gentlemen. Unless you-
Thank you, Rick.
Good. Thanks, Rick.
Is that going to be, visitor parking only the whole time?
Year
or
round,
just tax
yep.
time?
No,
All
you're
time?
right.
Yes,
Yep.
I keep it permanent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I had it correct.
Yep. Trey, come tell us what's happening in your world.
Morning, Adams County, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning, how we all doing?
Should put on the sign.
Just a couple of things from the office.
That way people come in night.
last Monday,
Plan commission meeting.
We got our Memorial Day flags in, 4,100 of them. Art Booth from Bernie came up to grab his allotment, dispersed between Bern and Geneva. I usually, just deliver them here to the Legion in town, 14 boxes per, usually, so that's done. We got that going. As it stands right now, the annual Veteran Service Officer Conference down in Indianapolis is set for the 23rd and 24th of June. No schedule yet, but I think those are some pretty hard dates. I know myself, along with probably the rest of the state, has a lot of questions on this SB1 as well as the 433. Kind of chaotic right now. Joe Wasson kind of from Allen County. He's the Veteran Service Officer. My opinion, tip of the spear when it comes to veterans, anything veteran. He sent me a pretty good email kind of outlining the basics of the SB1 stuff and how it might impact, but I'm holding my breath until we do, because I'm sure it'll be a big topic at the conference in Indianapolis
Sure.
in June. So more to
Yeah.
come from that. So
I think
So
that's the
you're
way with
saying-
all that legislation. I think we just gotta wait and see
it's
how it,
chaos right
how
now.
it all gets interpreted.
So
now.
will that cut back on veterans benefits? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it just changes the way Trey does his work, kind of.
The
who he-
433, it's how I read it. It's almost like a bigger overview for IDBA, the Indiana Department of Veterans.
Yeah.
Right.
Just essentially to make sure we're getting the job done.
Right.
VSO.
Little more oversight there out of the
Yeah,
state.
but the SB1,
Not gonna affect you much.
curious on that. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'd say we'll see right now.
Okay.
So.
Well,
we'll
we just don't know.
Yeah, once I get word, they'll be passed along. Another thing, I'm putting together an email group for anybody who wants to be a part of anything veteran friendly, as far as getting the dispersion of anything benefits wise, stuff
Okay.
going on in the community. It's been growing for the past probably month. I think the responses of the people that are on it have been overwhelmingly positive. I'm getting everything out
Would
there.
you just add me to that list?
Oh, yeah,
If you would,
yeah,
please, maybe add us
definitely.
all, I don't know, but certainly add me.
And spread the word. Anybody who wants to be a part of it, get a hold of me, come to the office, text, call, email me.
Okay.
I'd like for it to work as a two-way street too. If you hear something that's good, for example, a lady from the Decatur Church of God got a hold of me. She gave me a flyer for a veteran grocery giveaway coming up in May. I got no problem scanning it in, sending it out to everybody on the list.
Good.
So it's only gonna help Adams County get the word out there.
Sure.
So should did it sooner, but here we are now. So I'd like to get that growing. So, yeah, come to the office, let me know your email. I'll slap you on there. And another thing, this was brought to my attention this morning as well, the Indiana Veteran Give Back Program 2025. It's saying on here you can get extra money added to your benefits. Specifically, I would assume disability compensation. Yeah, I'm doing my own detective work as it stands
Sure.
right now. I called this number. To my surprise, somebody actually picked up, but they set up another appointment for, I guess, the big dogs to
Sure.
call me. That's gonna be at 11:30 today. I'll get the ins and outs
Good.
on that. And I will disperse that through this email chain and I'll get back to you guys as well. So you'll be on that weekend. Press the word. I don't know, the research I've done, it almost acts as like it ties into Medicare and Social Security benefits. I'm not an expert on that frontier, but I hope to gather more stuff. Hopefully whoever I talk to, they can send me
Yeah.
an email package and I can send it.
Check with your state office see what their take is on it. too.
Yeah, I do plan on hitting Cameron Lochner, the district service officer for
Right.
Northeast
Good.
Indiana. So
Good.
other than that, we've been getting a little bit busier. I think they came in one after the other Friday, so
Yeah,
the
good.
weather's shaping up, so I expect to be busier in
Well,
summer,
I
so-
appreciate the article both Democrat and Burn Witness put in earlier in the year.
That's definitely helped a bunch,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, if you guys can, tell everybody about the email group.
Okay.
I'd like to get everybody,
What's the email address? What do you wanna put down is, what is that?
just have them get a hold of me.
What number what's your phone number again?
Oh, for the office?
Yeah.
260-223-5964. That's my cell phone number. They can text.
5964?
Yeah, they can call, text me, email me, what have you. They know where my office is, hopefully. So, and like I said, this morning, too, outreach is obviously.
Trey, what is your email?
So further,
Yeah.
tlikes@adamscounty.in.gov. That's it. But the old domain works as well. I think
Yeah.
it's the BSO. So if you have the old, that's on my old business card, but we're getting new ones that have the updated one, but I get everything.
You
So
know, one thing, Trey, I think, we got that brick monument on the west side of courthouse. And, I don't know who, way back, Dave Meyer kind of headed that up. And we got donated money and put that beautiful brick monument up. My question now is, who kind of takes a look at that to see if there's some tuck pointing needed on the bricks? Who kind of, if there's someone that wants to add a brick, all of those kind of things. And Tony, if I'm not mistaken, there's a budget item for that monument somewhere.
There is a budget item for.
Yeah.
these monuments.
So if you could, would maybe go over and take a look and make sure that, especially with Memorial Day coming up and all of those things.
don't quote me on this. I think that the chamber over there, maybe the one on Second Street, or is that City Hall? I think they might have some dealings with that, I believe, but I can.
Well, it's the one right on the west side of the courthouse.
Yeah.
right.
Well, I
Come
meant
down
like,
the steps.
who monitors it? stuff
Well,
as far
I
as-
don't know.
yeah.
I don't know who monitors right now.
I'd be curious on that.
But, that might be an area you might want to take a look at. You're as closely associated with that as anyone I can think of, as far as veterans is concerned. Thank you.
Sometimes just take somebody walking by and saying, oh crap, you gotta work on this, or no, looks good, somebody's taking
Yeah.
care of it.
Yeah.
That's all I had, gentlemen.
Okay, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Trey.
Trey. Thanks, Trey.
Are you involved in the Memorial Day celebration at all?
No, I've always celebrated in my own way. We kind of do, it's not like we have, like vacations or anything planned, but, it's close to some of us that.
I know the Legion always puts it
Legion
together.
Yeah,
always-
I used,
I didn't know if you were involved.
I
or
used
not.
to attend those and stuff, but as long as the word's getting out, they got my, card and stuff. Some of the guys that are boots on the ground, they're getting the word out about the email chain, all that stuff. That's all I care about, as long as they know my information, what I do, what the office is about.
I just didn't know if you were involved with that.
Yeah, I have been to a couple, but yeah, Memorial time comes around,
I think American Legion VFW is pretty well spearhead those things, and it's not on a yearly basis. Maybe Byrne picks it up one year, Decatur might pick it up. It's not that's a good place for it, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Trey.
Good,
All right,
thanks,
you,
Trey.
appreciate it.
I saw Mark in here a little bit ago, but he seems to be, Mark Wynn seems to have left. Shannon, he was whispering in your ear. Do you know where Mark Wynn went?
He stepped out, he's on the phone.
Okay. Very good. I'll give him a minute here.
Phoning it in.
Shannon, have you got anything for us while we're waiting on Mark?
Yes, but thank you.
I think Angie has it. Is it you? Who's it for?
It's the appointment form that we were gonna have them sign last week for,
For, Brent, or not Brent, Rediger? Did we sign the appointment form
Yeah.
for Rediger, right?
there's another one.
Amy somebody?
Yeah, that's right. I think so.
Okay.
Call up, extension 1211.
I think I left it on here last week.
I think
What's that? What
Call
position?
1211, see if Angie has it. Bring it
What
down.
position is that?
Can't remember what position that was.
What was it for?
Oh, let me look on the email from Brooke.
I can't remember.
I had the plank.
I know the Redinger one we had.
Renninger.
Did he come in and sign his yet, Tony?
I don't know. He might have. Angie takes care of that up there. She has the form and everything.
Yeah, Angie. Hey, it's Mark Murray. We had another appointment form that I think maybe I gave to Tony and it was for an Amy. Can't remember. Do you have that one?
Let me start any of that work out there, close to you on his,
He's got those lots sold.
all of them. Wow.
One person.
One person,
Okay.
so he knows spec homes out there then?
No, evidently it's somebody from Bern,
Here, I'll let you talk to him. Hang on.
but,
There you go.
Oh, for Amy Foltz.
I don't know. Somebody, no, local builder,
Okay.
private person, she wants to build a home and then have lots available for the kids.
Wow.
So-
There he is. Come on up, Mark.
Sorry,
No, you're all right.
phone rang. Or in a spot. I saw Shannon Smitley, I should have known better. He talks a long time. I have just one subdivision today, 100 south, between 100 south and 200 south, at 100 east. With some auctions out there not too long ago.
That's in Burry or Mark Mitchell?
Yeah.
No, don't look like it. But no, his was a square
Yeah,
footage.
his right on the corner there.
His was square
Yeah,
footage.
this is an Amish property. with
Okay.
That Waggler signs that are out there
Yeah,
everywhere right now.
oh,
This
yeah.
was one of those, I believe.
Okay.
And, they're taking that single property, turn it into 3.
How many, what was the acreage on
1, 2, 3.
The original acreage.
that? 18.18.
On here, but it's under 60.
60. Okay, well,
30,
I
18.
think it says 60 right there.
I don't know what this one is, had to be
So we got
12 or something,
10,
10.7.
10.7.
Okay.
18.6, 30.3. To get to this lot, they have a 30-foot easement that runs along this property line. Gets you to here,
Be a long lane.
a very long way. And other than that,
That's what's happening.
Okay,
You don't have a
that's what it
choice.
is.
okay. Got a motion, guys?
Go ahead, Sam. Motion to approve. Second.
Approved. Go ahead.
All I got. I think I sent an email yesterday, the building at the parent center's done. I got a temporary certificate because we have 3 little items: address, one more handicap bar, and fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers.
I don't know what happened to that.
Rick said
They're
you
gonna send
can fire
another one for the-
On Friday, thanks.
Okay.
Hey, Mark,
So
just
that
for
way they'll
your,
be on a service
yeah,
schedule with.
just for your information, we decided that
Yeah.
you'll get a,
It was,
$2,000 stipend. Does it come through payroll, I think, right? Sam? So,
I
you know,
appreciate it.
if Michelle decides to do something on top of that, that's, but we appreciate the work, Mark.
No, I'd do it again. That was fun.
I know. You still got that construction blood in you.
Let me design that center you want to build.
The,
We'll get that-
judicial
we'll get that
center?
Down.
All right.
Hey, I see your son's getting more and more business all the time too,
He's
isn't he?
busy.
Yeah.
He's busy.
Doing a
Yeah,
good
he's doing
job.
well.
It helps when he puts his signs out when he does the project.
I just got those. We changed his name. That's something different, so.
What all does he do?
Everything. So he has a Premier trencher. He started off Bobcat mini excavator trencher. Now he's got a
So
full
he's
size.
into excavating?
Yes, he's an excavator.
Okay.
Yes.
gotcha.
He's got a full size excavator now and a dozer. And
Okay.
Wow.
Everybody's happy
Two
with
dump
his
trucks.
work too.
Wow.
I get a lot of.
Now he's gotta
compliments.
keep busy.
Yes, he does. He just had to be. He just got to be a grandpa.
I'm gonna hang out here and we'll cover this settlement.
His retirement plan.
Yes.
All right, well, while we got Mark here, we put on the agenda for today the commissioner's approval of the settlement agreement between Jones Estates and the Plan Commission. Commissioners recall regarding the zoning of the trailer park up on Highway 27. So this has been kind of a long time coming.
I kept reading the dates in that settlement agreement thinking 21, is that really?
Yeah.
Surely that's the wrong year on that.
Yeah, 20.
No, that's it.
2020. Actually, River Bend, so this is a settlement agreement, that needs to be just approved here by the commissioners on a regular meeting. And it's a settlement agreement between Jones Estates River Bend, Indiana LLC, which is doing business as River Bend Estates, and the Board of Commissioners of Adams County Plan Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, and Mark Wynn as the planning director and superintendent. And so actually it was in November of 2020, River Bend entered into an asset purchase agreement with NK Holdings. They were the prior owner, doing business as Oak Ridge Estates, purchased the mobile home park located up there on Highway 27. At the time of the purchase, that area was zoned agricultural. Anyways, as things went on, it was required to be rezoned as R3 Mobile Home Park Zone District. And then there were some variance, I think, applications. There were some conditions imposed upon the development of that, or the redevelopment of that park. And then thereafter, there was a dispute that arose concerning zoning and whether or not that was necessary. And then they got into it with NK Holdings. This agreement is just between Jones Estates, River Bend, and Adams County. It does not bind, it is not an agreement. NK Holdings is not part of this agreement.
But it's with Adams County and Plan Commission and Mark and
EZA,
everything
All of the-
related to Adams County.
all of the
Adams County,
county-
All the county entities.
correct. All the
Okay.
county
That's what I
parties
read it too.
participating in this agreement, so it's done. And so basically when you read clear through it, the exhibits to the agreement really kind of tell you what's been done. First off, the county did require there to be some on-site, retention of water. And so there was a drainage plan presented. You guys are familiar, that was presented to the drainage board.
Drainage board
Yep.
approved that.
Miller Land Surveying designed that retention. And so that all got vetted through and that's been approved. So all those exhibits are attached to this agreement. And the size of the pond, the layout, the number of lots permitted relative to the size and the drainage. And then also the other part of it was guardrail. They're required to install a guardrail for the protection of the mobile homes that are close there to 27. And so that will be done. And then the last thing was that the county will not impose any restriction on homes older than 10 years coming in, but still subject to review of the building department. So it says,
The state says you can't.
right, you can't do that.
As I recall the discussion from sitting in on a couple of those arbitration meetings, those were the two big sticking points, the drainage plan that they pushed back on, and then the
tenure.
barrier, the
Oh, the
guardrail,
guardrail.
to protect against the,
Being closer to our
yeah,
setback.
being closer than the setback. So it felt to me like when I read through it, both of those were settled in a way that we would be comfortable with. Those were the two biggies, if I remember correctly.
I'm happy with where we're at with it.
Yeah.
And the lady, again, it's not written down in stone anywhere, or on paper anywhere, but the person that represented them last Thursday said they were gonna do nothing but brand new units.
Okay.
Or 2 Thursdays ago. but
Yeah,
we
the
shall
other
see.
issue that kind of stuck out to me at our plan commission meeting was trespassing. Trespassing on neighbor's property, which is, that's something that we don't have a lot of control over. We just don't. But, again, when we questioned that, she indicated that they would make every effort to try to help that situation. But I've got some of those issues on my farm down south. I mean, it's just people don't respect properties, no matter where you are. And it's not totally solvable, but it was a major concern with a couple of neighbors out there.
It's the only places they should.
Sure. Yep, and obviously we have laws that take care of that too.
And then there's, and if there were any, you know, homes brought in less than 10 years, and they're subject to inspection by building commissioner for building safety codes. And then there's a stipulation for dismissal of the claim. It's going to be dismissed with prejudice. So I'd recommend that the commissioners.
Tell me again what that means, Mark. I think I know, but
Dismissed
with prejudice.
That means it can't be refiled. It
Okay.
means it's done.
With the exception, there was one exception to that prejudice, and that was with the prior owner, right, or something like that, or?
They're not part of it.
Okay,
So the litigation between Jones Estates and NK Holdings can continue,
right.
but we're out of it. County's out.
So Riverbend owns the property free and clear, so this agreement with them kind of is a complete agreement because
Yeah, they already bought it and closed on it. They own it and now they are
So,
able to operate it. under this
it's not
agreement.
like whatever happens between Riverbend and NK. If NK ends up owning it, then we're,
No.
don't have a good agreement.
Well, I suppose Riverbend could sell it to somebody else, but
But it would still fall under the same.
yes,
Yes.
the operational guidelines have been approved.
And there were two other things that we had talked about is that, you may have already known this, but the storm drainage does not have to be installed till they get to, I believe, 20% of home in their blood. They already have a number of homes, so it's only, I think they're only allowed to bring in around 5, give or take, maybe 6 new homes, and then that has to be built before they get to 7th one. And also the same stipulation for the guardrail. The guardrail has to be up before they get a permit for anything that's within that 150-foot setback, that they could fill up the rest of the park and not have it installed. That was just 2 stipulations that we were even trying to help them on that, saying, well, that way if this passes, they technically could bring in like 5 new trailers tomorrow, and not have to hire somebody, wait till the pond's built and then start doing some work. They could get going.
Mark, you might want to touch plan commission. We were also very concerned about the sewage system out there. So you might want to cover what they did through IDEM and what's approved.
So they had gotten way back when they first got it, that's why it got deregulated from the state, just because they had problems. And they fixed those problems back in 21 or 22. And at this time, they are approved by IDEM for the amount of units that they say will be in that park, which I forget the number, 112 or something like that. So at this time, it's being monitored and they've got their certifications and it's approved. And as long as they keep up on maintenance of it and do what they're supposed to do.
Did I read somewhere that they have several of these types of treatment facilities, and they have people on staff that go around and monitor, that make sure that?
Yes, because you actually have to have some sort of license or
Certification or something, yeah.
certification to even work on it or monitor it.
Yeah.
What they do. So, yeah,
I think they've got some sort of IDEM permit to do
they
it.
do have an IDEM permit.
Yeah.
And it is approved, like I said, for the number of units that they ultimately can put in there. If something changes in the future, we're not that far away with sewer, but
Right.
that's another discussion for another day. I don't
Sure.
think they're gonna do that unless they have to.
No, but there is an alternative there if they get.
There would be, it wouldn't be
If
stuff.
they get
Be a
pinched.
bigger line. There'd have to be a bigger line from Sunnybrook back to Decatur to handle that.
So both Marks are recommending approval.
Yep, just need a motion to authorize Steve to sign this as chairman.
Should we open up, John?
One observation.
Sure.
And I understand this has been a long, drawn out, difficult process for you guys. I understand that. One neighborhood concern, and I expected a couple more. We were under the impression that this, if any one of the boards, BCA or the zoning, would deny this agreement, they would go straight to litigation with a potential 2026 trial date, cost Adams County $100,000. we're a little sensitive to that. We understand. Well, it's about $100,000. But consider what all of us landowners, neighbors have lived with for 50+ years out
Yeah.
there. The trespassing is horrendous. The trash dumping hasn't been so bad since there's almost nobody there the last 5 years. I've had sections of garage door dumped in my fields. I've had all kinds of bags of trash dumped in the woods along 1100. I've got about a half mile of frontage on 1100. And they find it very convenient to just fling things out there. This $100,000 number litigation cost. How many thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars have us landowners paid taxes for protection for these type of things? You know, government services are kind of a background, invisible, police paying township fire, 2 different directions, Oakland and Decatur. And the roads, I have done an awful lot of snow removal at the intersection of 11 North 2 West over the years, and down 200. And county highway didn't come 10, 12 years ago. We had like a 2-week span where we weren't really moving. I kept 200 of my snow blower on my skid loader for a week. What services are we really benefiting? They're kind of in the background.
John, I think the problem I would have with your argument is, from a legal standpoint, I don't know what, if we threw $100,000 at a legal challenge, I don't know how we would prevail even after that.
I understand it,
That's the problem with what you're asking us.
but you are that level of protection. You 3 men, this offices are, and don't take it that I'm picking on you. I'm not. I'm trying not to. I'm just bringing up an observation that's been discussed. We're paying an awful lot, and this kind of is one source of topic for us out there that we've
Sure.
dealt with for decades and decades and decades. And if you haven't been by there in the
I have
daytime,
been.
it's still not looking very good.
No.
They haven't done much in the last 5 years. I mean, they've moved out some junk, but it's got a long way to go. They were actually working on their sewer this week. They had a company in there. I don't know what they were doing, but they were probably addressing some issue to keep minimum standard up, I'm guessing. But I just, something to consider.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying. Not griping, complaining, don't look at that.
No, I'm not taking it that way at all. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And
I guess I'm trying to understand the connection between the $100,000 and approving this.
That's just kind of something that's being held over.
I mean, I didn't know, where does $100,000 come from? I don't know what that is.
it was just mentioned in passing that if it goes to litigation, it could cost that much more. And then to Steve's point, when the litigation is completed, what's it gonna change?
Right.
And I take a little bit, John, I really do appreciate your concern, and I take a little bit different view on this, as if a firm, whether it's a trailer park, or whether it's an intensive livestock operation, or whatever it is, it's someone that wants to conduct a business. And, I'll give you my situation down south. I've got a huge lagoon within a 1/4 mile of our home. And if it's not well managed, we got an issue with flies and smell and everything else. But I wasn't gonna step in the way of a neighbor creating a business and I kind of look at your situation, I mean, not yours, but I kind of look at the mobile home park as an opportunity. They've met all the rules and regulations to conduct a business. And, I, for one, don't want to step in front of that because it sets a precedent.
I agree. And I am all for property rights,
Right.
individual property rights. The landowner needs to have more rights than
Yeah.
A lot of
We give
people
today.
credit.
Yeah.
But we have dealt with this issue for
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
I have paid over the years, I don't know how many dollars to dispose of trash that I've picked up,
I believe that.
tires, I don't know how many tires. Mobile home trailer tires, so you know where they came from.
Yeah.
Nobody out there has it except for that.
Yeah.
It's just, what is our recourse? How do we, that's another question, concern. If they're not keeping up on this, what is our option?
One of the things that we've done, that they have done before I became a commissioner, we did adopt a nuisance ordinance that allows us to be a little more aggressive with places in the county that are not being maintained, at least to a minimal standard. I think we've got an ordinance now that we can fall back on if it falls into the kind of shape it's in, once they've, from a business perspective, I get it when somebody says, if I don't know how much more I want to put into this, because I don't know whether I'm ever going to be able to operate it as a going concern business. Assuming that this passes, if this passes, and all those hurdles are behind them, then I would expect to see some significant improvement in the look and the maintenance of that place out there, based on what we've been told, what I've heard at Plan Commission, what we've been told by the new owners, and what we've been told that their current parks that they operate in other areas, the level of care and maintenance that they expect out of their parks. So I'm hopeful that we're gonna move into a much better state than we have been for the last 10 years out there.
But we're apprehensive.
Cautiously hopeful.
I'm not scared.
Yeah, I think the key word is management. If they manage like we've been told, and like the lady did on our plan commission,
She seemed very,
she
very,
seemed very,
yeah.
very up to tune with things. So I guess the bottom line is when we have to make a decision, it'll tail down the long run if.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it. I just wanted to voice. my
Okay.
opinion.
Appreciate it, John.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Your concerns are, I'm sure,
Well,
well embedded in your experience, so I get it.
Yeah.
What is your last name, sir? John?
No.
Any other comments before we move on to, I think we're ready to think about an action item here.
I make a motion to approve the agreement as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, the motion passes, and I support that as well.
I'll send that down and for your signature, Steve. It's right there on the top right.
We can litigate that appointment for Mark, for Amy.
What if? I'm going to litigate it for. That's one. More for the.
They already approved this, and it's just not something. I don't think they approved
That was kind of
it.
my
Huh?
thought too.
Did they approve it?
Nothing else to.
I don't know. If not, just have them.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I guess the only spot for signature is mine here.
Yep.
so.
That's it.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Mark, tell Mike to stick around.
Okay.
I have an appointment.
Moving forward.
Amy. We need to take action on.
Okay, so what do we got?
We have, Amy Foltz, as Drainage Board Secretary for a term starting May 1st, 25.
Okay.
And continuing at the pleasure of the board during 25. This would be her, she will sign this as her appointment form. We
I
just need action on
I
that.
move that we make the appointment of Amy. For Drainage Secretary.
Okay. The motion passes. Thanks, guys.
And I'll take that up and get her.
Okay.
Have it notarized.
Mark, what else have you got for us?
Reviewed the school resource officer contract between the sheriff's department and Adams Central. Everything looks fine. I guess the issue had to do with maybe overtime and
The question that I had asked about was the dollars that we'll have to reimburse that officer for care of the canine animal, whether that could be added to the amount that Adams Central reimburses us for.
And that's what I need to talk with Audra about
Okay.
and figure out how we calculate that.
Okay.
Because the way it's drawn, it's 40 hours, I've gone clear through it, the formulation, how they come up with it is it's a 40-hour week, and we pay based upon 185 days a year. And then the rest of the time the county pays.
So maybe that just needs to be, instead of 40 hours a week, it needs to be
42,
42 hours a week,
Or
yeah, 42 and a half hours a week or something.
something like that.
Yeah,
And then we just adjust the number,
right.
I think is what we do.
Okay, so you'll look at that, get with
Yeah,
Audra,
yeah, I
and try to
mean,
figure out how to.
And it's an annual contract. So this ends when the school year ends this year,
Okay.
this contract
So we'll need to
ends.
sign a new one for next year.
We'll need a new one
And
anyway.
I think that was our point, or my request was that when we sign a new one for next year, I don't feel an obligation to do anything this year. I think what we did from a compensation perspective handles us through the end of this school year, through the summer.
It's
It's
through,
the beginning of this next school year. is
it
what
runs
I'd like
through
to-
July of 25.
Okay,
So we'll need something new for August.
We don't need action on that right now.
I don't think so.
But I've got
Right,
the schedule. I'll make a copy of it here.
Work
for
on
you.
that.
This is really the important thing you need to see.
Okay, how we get paid.
Mhm.
No action today. Okay.
No. I think that's it.
Anything else, Mark?
Nope.
Okay.
Got a report maybe from Tim Barkey.
Yeah,
Got rained out today. Yes, yes.
Okay. Anything else from the public? Public, this is your time. Just,
I told John, I picked up trash out there before, only on the highway.
yeah,
I've driven through the park out there, and it does look like.
it's a mess. It's a mess out there
They
right
only
now.
got 50 or 20 trailers, I thought they had like 50 or 60 trailers. There
Yeah.
were 50 or 20 out there,
Yeah.
and they couldn't go up to 112.
Spots for over 100, yeah.
Mm,
Stan,
Yeah.
Doug, anything for
I have
good in the
nothing.
cause?
Nope.
yeah, I don't have anything,
Okay,
so I move we adjourn.
okay. We're adjourned.
Hey, what your wife need you out of the house today?
No, I'm just
Click us off here.
Oh.
Good seeing you, Tim.
Is that-
It's been a while.
Just a few minutes with Joan.